Okay, today we are going to walk through creating a simple CRUD web application in Sinatra. We are going to start with a model view controller skeleton that's provided. So this tutorial is going to assume a couple things. It's going to assume that you have Git installed, that you have Ruby working, and that you have access to this repository. Now you'll see it's under the Dev Bootcamp curriculum organization. This will be the name of your cohort or whatever organization that you have access to, but the repo name should be the same. You just have to find the correct organization. So it's going to assume you have access to that. It's going to assume that you have Postgres installed and working, and that all the gems that we have here are able to be installed and working on your computer. If you have any issues with those, please reach out or Google the error. But we'll go ahead and get started. So now that we've found where our repo is on GitHub, we will get the link to clone. And if you use SSH, you can switch to use that. I'm going to use HTTPS just to show that sometimes you have to put in your username and password when you do that. So I'll just use the git clone command, and I'll ask for my username and password. Cool, and then it will fetch the repo essentially, and then I can change directories into there, and then we'll see that we have the files that are in the repo, and this Sinatra skeleton is set up. So I use the Atom editor. You're free to use whatever you like. Sublime works just as well. And okay, so we have the skeleton set up. It mirrors a little bit what you'll see in a Rails application. There's an app folder at the top with controllers, helpers, models, and views. At this point, these are pretty much empty with the exception of the layout ERB file. And we have a config with database configuration and environment configuration. So this is all set up to take care of some administrative work for us, and we can focus on the business logic and the design of our application. So first thing that we'll do is we'll run bundle to make sure that we either have the gems available or that they install successfully. So we'll let that run for a moment. Okay, so that looks like a success. And what I can try to do is run bundle exec shotgun. That's the web server that we'll be using. Okay, cool. So we can successfully bring up a web server, and we'll see that it's located here at port 9393, and this is essentially saying localhost right here. So if I bring up a new tab and I go to localhost 9393, cool. So we have a good Sinatra error that tells us how to get started, which means that we have a working web server, everything installed correctly. We're good to move forward from here. This is what we sometimes refer to as a good error. It means that the next step in the process is pretty clear. We need some sort of a route that does something. So at the very beginning, we can just do what Sinatra tells us and set this up. And the way that we have this structured, we're going to put it in our controllers file. So we'll create a new file in here that we'll just call application. We can get more specific as we get into more detailed and more complex applications. But for this case, we'll just do what Sinatra tells us. I'll save this file, and we'll try to refresh this page. Cool. Now we have hello world. So we have a working get route to start off with. And it's always good to end-to-end have this hello world application before you dig into the heavier business logic and the designs. So that's it for episode 0 of setting up our Sinatra app. And next episode, we'll work with our first active record model. But with this initial setup out of the way, making sure everything's working, we can hit the ground running. So we'll see you next time.